Hey, how's it going? So today we're going to be looking at the Burning Spirit from Lone Wolf Audio. This is an overdrive with a couple extra bells and whistles. You have 3-band EQ up top. You'll have your drive. You'll also have your range and a grip, which will be an input variance and a sag control essentially. Your N-Gauge will turn the pedal on. N-Range will be an extra boost. This does not work by itself. I've seen people just turn this on for demos and stuff. This does nothing without this being engaged. Keep that in mind. These guys are, this thing's a brick. Always think all of Joe's enclosures are built pretty solid, and the colors on these are always, they always turn out really nice. That's a pretty solid color. A little wonky, but hey, whatever. That's how you know it's built by hand, right? Cool. So let's see what this guy sounds like. We're gonna be using the 6505 amp block. Show you guys my settings here. Nothing too crazy. Gonna be running 2 cabs on all these. All the amps we're gonna be listening to are gonna be different Bogren packs. So if you like the way those sounds, go check those out. And all of them will have some sort of filter or parametric EQ. I pretty much set them all around the same. Some I'll dip the highs a little bit depending on what type of amp we're running, but this is the quote-unquote clean sound of the 6505. Alright, so for this next amp block here, we're going to be playing through the Engel Savage, go over my EQ here. This one's the more scooped sounding of the two, so even though my everything's about at noon here, it's pretty beefy, it's pretty stupid. Same with the cabs here, running 2 different of the Bogren packs. Running a filter instead of a parametric EQ, but essentially doing the same thing. I've cut a little bit more high end out, but there's still plenty to shine through. So this is what that sounds like. right, so now we're gonna move over to just a good old rectifier. This is gonna be a red channel modern, got everything just around 6, a little bit more on the mids. Just kind of randomly pick some EQs here. So we're going to be running the Sound of God and the DDR EQ2. Same thing with the parametric EQ, just a little bit above 100, just whatever. I don't really have a specific number with these. I just kind of set it and go. But this is the clean setting of this amp. All right, so for this last one here, we're gonna just see how much drive this pedal actually can pump out on something a little more low gain. So we're gonna be running a 65 Bassman. Got the mids pushed pretty hard, got the input pushed pretty hard. Master is gonna be cranked on this one. Same thing with the cabs. We're running to the Bogrens. This one's the Northern Comfort. This is the Sound of God. And just kind of like I try to pull a little bit extra mids out and push a little bit of the high mids in this EQ just to get a little bit more of like a really cranked live sound. And this is what this sounds like on its own. So that was the Burning Spirit from Lone Wolf Audio. I think this is a pretty cool pedal. It has some features that I think are super awesome. Some I wish were a little bit more extreme, but I'll get into that in just a minute. We'll start with the things I really like about it. I really think that this EQ is super awesome. I feel like it doesn't color your tone too much to where if I want to boost the mids on this, it's not going to get super boxy and it sounds like I've just pushed the mids into a space that's just annoying to the ear. Same with the highs. I feel like on this I can crank the highs and it's not getting that ice picky type of high sound, which is really nice. I think it has some pretty cool stuff where if you just turn the low all the way down, it kind of sucks the low end out and it does this really weird kind of just falling apart sound is what I'll refer to it as. That can be pretty cool. Definitely not something I'd use as my rhythm tone all the time, but just like a cool little quick on and off type of effect is really nice. I do wish there was a volume knob on this. That's one of my complaints. Just so I could dial it back just a smidge, just to kind of balance out the drive a little bit. Some overdrives I like to keep them between more like 2 and 3 o'clock in terms of the level instead of cranked all the way up. Just not to push it too hard, so I can kind of like stack the gain stages a little bit different. But can't really do it with this one. But I feel like that's kind of what the enrage function is for, anyways. And I feel like I would keep this on pretty much about 99% of the time. If I was going to add some gain for what I noticed, I feel like once I got past a certain point that it sounded better with the enrage off, just because it was able to kind of like pull it back just a little bit and let some of the overdrive come through. But I definitely think if you're running it like a traditional overdrive with your drive all the way down, I wouldn't play this thing without the enrage on. That being said, I think the range and grip functions are pretty cool. I think it's more noticeable with the drive turned up instead of the drive all the way off. That's one thing I wish was a little bit more apparent when you're just using more like a traditional sound. I wish that the grip acted more kind of like a parametric EQ shift that would start kind of like shaving some low end off, and maybe the range was just kind of like a mid attack that had like a different spectrum that it fell between, so you get a little bit more percussive sounds in your picking. I think that would have been a pretty cool feature for these, but yeah, I think its main function is to kind of clean up the insane amount of drive that this pedal can push out. So I think that's what that function's really for. But that being said, I still wish it was a little bit more apparent whenever you don't have any drive on it. But yeah, other than that, I think it's pretty solid. It's built like a tank. This thing is fairly heavy. Yeah, definitely recommend going and checking out any of Joe's stuff. He makes some pretty nasty sounding pedals. I think he definitely puts his stamp on everything. Like this sounds like one of his pedals as soon as I turned it on. Like it just has like a distinct sound. So yeah, if you're looking for that type of stuff, go check out his Instagram, Lone Wolf Audio. Go to his Big Cartel page, see what he's got available. A little bit of a wait list, but he'll eventually get them all out to you. But yeah, thanks for stopping by and checking this out. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on your way out, and I'll see you guys later.